I wanted to make sure that we all say thank you to everyone who's making this video possible. So we want to thank TD Charitable Foundation. And of course, we want to especially thank our Special Friends Charities and all of our health and wellness sponsors. And also, of course, we want to thank University of St. Joseph's USJ Nutrition Program, because they are the ones who are going to show us how to make this healthy meal. All right, so I know that you all are super excited to get started. So I thought, why doesn't everybody introduce themselves so you can tell us your name and your local program, so that our friends from University of St. Joseph's can learn a little bit about you, okay? So I'm gonna call on you so that I can see everyone. So stay on mute until I call on you guys, okay?
Okay.
So Logan, do you wanna go first?
Yes. Hi, my name is Logan, and I am from the Unfield Allied Dogs.
Thank you, Logan.
Hi, Logan.
I see Mihai. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Mia Cantana from Tampa, Connecticut.
Awesome, thank you.
Hi, Mihai.
I see Kristen. Oh, I think you're on mute.
My name is Kristen. I make dinner.
Awesome. And what program are you with, Kristen?
Midford Operation Mainstream.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming.
Hi, Kristen. Nicole, I think somebody's trying to get into the Zoom room.
Oh, let's see. Oh, yep, it's Dan. All right, let's see if that works. And now I see Tucker. Tucker, do you want to introduce yourself?
You're on mute, Tucker.
You're on mute. All right, we can come back to you. Let's see, Peter.
Hello, everyone. I'm Peter. I'm the founder and owner of Let's Be Social 101. And I'm from Team Cheshire.
Awesome. Thanks, Peter.
Peter, love the Let's Be Social.
Thank you.
I see Imani.
Hey, Dad.
Imani, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, all right.
And what program are you with?
Hi, Imani.
Hi. I see Mary.
Yes, you do.
And what program are you with, Mary?
I'm Team Ram.
Awesome. Welcome.
Mary, I recognize so many of you from the events.
I see Kimberly.
Hi, I'm Kimberly, and I do Special Olympics with Glastonbury Special Olympics.
Awesome.
Hi,
Thanks,
Kimberly.
Kimberly. I see Chelsea.
Hi, my name is Chelsea, and I do Special Olympics for Shellen.
Hi, Chelsea.
Hi.
Awesome. Thanks, Chelsea. I see Abby.
Yeah, I'm Abby, and I do Special Olympics with Quatabog Valley.
Hey, Abby.
Awesome. Thanks, Abby. I see Alan.
Hi, my name is Alan, and I'm from Special Olympics in Battlefield.
Hi, Alan.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan. I see Shane. Oh, I think you're muted. 1 second.
I do that all the time.
Good. I'm Shane Lockerville, and I do Special Olympics Shelton. And I'm so happy to see you guys.
Hi, Shane.
Hi.
Hi, Shane. Thanks for joining us. Awesome. I see Billy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Tell him your name. Say your name.
Billy.
Tell him your name.
Billy. Billy.
Yeah, it's Billy. He's Special Olympics South Windsor.
My dad,
Billy.
Papa. In the middle.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hi, Billy. Thank you. I see Max.
I'm from Windsor, and I Windsor and Simsbury.
Hi, Max.
Awesome. Thanks, Max. I see Dan. I'm glad you got into the Zoom room.
My name is Dan Little, and I do Speed Limits for Quinnebog Valley.
Hi, Dan.
Hey.
Awesome. Thanks, Dan. Hi, Madeline.
Hi, I'm Madeline Ferreira, and I do Special Olympics for Quinnebog Valley.
Madeline.
Oops, sorry, Madeline. Thank you. And I see Natasha, I think is our last one.
Good evening. My name is Natasha Cowell. I'm from Taunton, Connecticut, and Special Olympics Lark.
Hi, Natasha.
Hello.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. So now we are going to get the show on the road. I'm going to turn it over to Shayna from USJ Nutrition. And if any of you guys have any questions during the Zoom, you can always put it in the chat, or if you raise your hand, I'll be on the lookout, and I'll call on you when we're ready to answer questions. That sounds good? Awesome. All right. So Shayna, it's all yours.
Hi, everyone. So I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. And I'm going to introduce myself, and then we'll switch the camera around so you can see what I'm doing. So don't worry, you don't have to just listen to me talk this whole time. So I'm a dietetic intern at USJ, and we started that in September. So right now it's going well. I am not a trained chef, unfortunately, but I like to cook and I do it a lot. And I feel like it's really important, especially to learn how to make healthy recipes and ones that are versatile. So I have 3 kids, and my ideal situation is that I can cook once and then have meals spread out for multiple days. So that's what we're going to learn tonight. I'm going to make a butternut squash soup, and then we're going to take some of that soup and turn it into a pasta dish as well. So hopefully, you know, maybe you don't want to try both recipes, but you can try one. I'm going to switch my camera around. All right, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did a lot of the prep ahead of time, more because some of it takes a while and then it's boring to watch me chop. So you can pretend that this is a big butternut squash. I did the peeling because that is very boring. But I'm just going to show you when you peel it, it's like a lighter orange originally, then you peel it and it becomes a darker orange. And I took off some of it. And then when you turn it over, the insides, you can see all the seeds. So I'm just going to take my spoon, and I have a little bowl to scoop it in, and you're going to scoop this out. So it's just a little bit on the bottom. And put that right in the bowl. Oops. And this is the time of year to buy butternut squash too, which is why we picked this recipe. Okay. All right, so now I'm just going to show you, and you can do it like me. Okay, so I'm just going to cut it into slices. This is, again, everyone has different methods for chopping, but I'm going to put it on, cut it into slices, and then I usually maybe stack 2 at a time, and then you're just going to cut them into cubes like this, and I'm going to put them on our sheet pan. Oops, I'm throwing one in the salt. And so one of the reasons why I like this recipe, well, there isn't, I should also add, there's not a butternut squash soup recipe I don't like. I've always said if I had one final meal, it would probably be lobster with butternut squash soup. There's lots of different varieties, but I like this one because it's easy. And I think my daughter's friend paid me the highest compliment when she said, I like your butternut squash because it reminds me of Thanksgiving, which wasn't the intent, but I think that's kind of a nice compliment. Okay, so I have a pan, any type of baking pan. This is just the one I have. So you're going to spread it out, and when you're doing it, you'll have a lot more because it's a whole butternut squash. So you might need 2 pans.
We're gonna put a little bit of oil. And then I'm gonna add just some salt and some pepper. And then we're gonna mix it around like that. And I'm just gonna rinse this off my hands real quick. And so this is gonna go into the oven for about, at 425 for about a half hour, maybe 40 minutes. So you wanna check it halfway and kind of move it around in between to make sure that it's not getting too burnt on the bottom. So we're gonna pretend that's going in the oven, and I'm gonna turn on my pan back here just to get it heated up while we chop the rest of the stuff, okay? I'm gonna put a little oil on this so it heats up. Okay, so now we're gonna chop the rest of our veggies while that's starting. So while it's cooking, I have some celery, and I'm just gonna cut it in half and then chop that, and make sure you watch your fingers. I will say, a long time ago, I sold Pampered Chef supplies, which it's like cooking stuff. And I was doing a demonstration, my first one. I was so excited, and I chopped a portion of my fingernail off, and that wasn't, so don't do that. So for an onion, you want to slice off the top, and then see this, the bottom part, it's good to keep that on there. And then you can just kind of take the peel. This onion's being, and peel it off. Then you're going to do little cuts like this.
Hey, Shayna, did onions make you cry?
Oh my gosh, yes. And I've tried all of the tricks to stop that from happening, and none of them work. Then you're going to slice it here and here. Yeah, I'm always, and like they're such an important part of cooking, but they 100% make me cry, any variety. So now we have we've diced it. So we're gonna add this to my bowl of already chopped. And in the recipe, it says how much you need of all of this. And then the last thing we're gonna chop up is sage. So I wish all of you could smell through the camera. I love sage. I think this is what makes it feel like Thanksgiving. And it's soft, and so if you don't want to buy fresh sage, so that sometimes people can't find it, or you can use dried sage, that's okay too. But just don't use as much, because for the dried spices, that flavor is a little more concentrated, and we don't want it to kind of overpower the dish. So we're chopping up some fresh sage.
Shayna, if they want to get the fresh sage, where can we find that? So in the produce section?
That's a very good question. So it's in the produce section. Usually there's like a little thing that hangs down, and it has a little package like this. We're gonna move over this one. I'll keep talking. I'm gonna add a little butter to my pan too. In the produce section, and usually it's like near the salad, and there's a whole bunch of different spices like basil. Sometimes they have fancy ones like lemongrass or thyme, but usually if you ask someone where it is, that like a helper at the grocery store, they'll be able to help you too. But that's a great question, because I've sent my husband on many missions to the grocery store, which he's come back and been like, where was that supposed to be? So I'm just going to add and you know what, I'm realizing normally when I make this soup, I do it in a much bigger bowl, which you'll see that that pot is coming, but looks like a lot of celery and carrots, but don't worry. Okay, so that's just going to saute. Oh, and onions, carrots. Why did I say carrots? Well, that's actually, I can segue into carrots, because you can, when you're doing this recipe, I've also added kind of what I have laying around the house. So if I have some extra carrots, anything orange, I say, carrots, sweet potato, I've even thrown in some apples. So don't feel like you have to do it exactly this way, because if you like it a little sweeter, maybe add some apple or sweet potato. So because this usually takes about 10 minutes for it to saute down, we're gonna kind of speed up the process a little bit here. So that would cook down and get softer. So your goal is you want to make these veggies nice and soft before you're going to add your roasted butternut squash. And so by the power of TV, I have already roasted some butternut squash. And see, I'm going to show you, even though I've made this 1,000 times, I still burnt some pieces of butternut squash. That's okay. This one I'm gonna toss. But don't, if it's roasting, you wanted this nice brown color, but don't worry if a couple of pieces got a little crispier than others. So we're gonna add this to our pot. We're gonna get that going. And then we're gonna add some chicken stock. You could use vegetable stock, and then this would be a vegetarian recipe. I probably wouldn't use any other type of stock. I guess you could, but I think that would probably taste funny. Or broth. My daughter's mouthing to me that some people might not know what stock is, which is true. So chicken broth or vegetable broth. So we're gonna pour this in. And I usually, so in the recipe, you'll see that there's kind of a bunch that I list for the amounts, and you're gonna use some of it at the end. But when I'm cooking this, I get it so it's just kind of covering everything. And then you're gonna save your remainder, and I'll show you how we're gonna use that later. So this is gonna come up to a boil and then down to a simmer. So boil is gonna be like a lot of bubbles. A simmer, you're gonna turn down your heat and just let it simmer for about 20 to 30 minutes. Probably, 20 minutes is gonna be fine. So we are going to, hold on, I'm just looking for I'm gonna switch some pots around. Okay, we're gonna pretend that that's cooking. I'm gonna start my pasta water. You don't know, that's gonna be boring, you can. And then we're gonna show you, ta-da! That's what happens after 20 minutes or so, or 30 minutes. So everything's kind of cooked down. You can see this is like the perfect fall color. And there's a couple of different ways to puree this. So I'm gonna show you two of them so you can kind of see the differences, and it'll depend on kind of what you have at home and how you can do this. So actually, I'm gonna just move some stuff around on my workstation. Dr. Brown, do you want to talk about some of the benefits of butternut squash while I'm switching some stuff up?
I would love to. Butternut squash is actually one of my absolute favorites, and it goes really well with any meal, really. But nutrition-wise, you guys will appreciate, because you are all learning about nutrition, all of the great nutrients that are in there. So it's a healthy carbohydrate. We've got a lot of vitamins in there, specifically vitamin A and vitamin C. And then there's also a mineral that's really important called potassium. And all of that, if that wasn't enough, there's still a lot of fiber in there. So it's a really good option for you when you're trying to eat healthy. And you can eat it in various forms. So Sheena right now is going to use it in the cubes that she cut up, and then it's going to be turned into a soup and then a sauce. And so it's very versatile. And I'm curious if anybody's ever had the butternut squash before. Anyone? I got someone up there who's had it good. So Kristen's had it. And so hopefully when you guys try it, I hope that you like it. and that you can incorporate it into more of your meals.
I think I saw a hand up from Dan and a hand up from Logan that they've also tried it.
Nice. Nice.
Oh,
Yep,
and
Madeline. Good. How about
All
you,
right.
Nicole? Oh, Shayna's back. Sorry.
I'm
Go
back.
ahead,
I'll
Shayna.
be pausing in another minute, so you're good. Yeah, and I was gonna say, as a side, like I love roasting butternut squash just as a side, and I've also used it, like I'll make a batch of it and then you can use it in a lot of different things. So you can always throw just the cubes in a pasta dish, in a salad, like a fall salad. You can do spinach with some roasted butternut squash, cranberries, some nuts. So don't like think of it just as, you know, in a soup, but you can actually add it to a lot of stuff. So I'm going to show you the two ways to turn this into more of a soupy option. So the first, so this is cooled a little bit. Make sure when you're doing this that you're not doing this part when it's nuclear hot, because I get worried for everyone's safety. So I'm going to spoon this into my blender and try not to make that much of a mess.
Awesome. So Shayna, while you're doing that, I think we have a hand raised. Alan, did you have a question?
Actually, I'm going to add my pasta, so I'll have you. We'll talk about this in a minute. Don't keep asking questions and talking.
Alan, did you have a question?
Yeah. No.
Or were you telling us that you've tried butternut squash soup?
I tried butternut soup.
And what did you think about it?
It looked yummy.
Yeah, it looks yummy and it tastes yummy. Awesome. And let's see, who else had raised their hand? Dan, what did you think of it when you tried it? Did you like it? Yep, I'm seeing a head nod. And Madeline? Oh, I think she's muted. Madeline, did you like it when you tried it?
Yeah.
Good.
Did you make it at home or did you try it out at a restaurant?
At home.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, back to you, Shayna.
Using the blender, you want to take off this middle part so steam can escape. This is really important because if you don't, all the steam is going to get trapped in there and then you'll have an explosion. In full disclosure, I have 100% done that before. It's embarrassing and dangerous. But so you're going to take this off and then you're going to, oops, my pasta's going. I'm trying to cook this quickly, so my pasta's cooking away over here. Okay. So then, and so you don't get it all over you, you're just gonna put a dish towel, a clean dish towel on top, and then just gonna push this down.
Dana, is that what you guys are having for dinner?
We ate already, but we're having it tomorrow night. And actually, it's funny you should ask that because some of my friends who I run with in the morning know that I'm making this. And one of my friends, we run very early when it's still dark outside. And one of my friends who has not joined us, she's like, if I come on Thursday morning, will you give me butternut squash soup? And I said, yes. So it's motivating her to wake up and come running with us. So I'm just mixing it around. So this is a good method, but it also takes a lot of batches. So you kind of have to be patient. I'm gonna set this aside and then I'm gonna do the quicker method because we have all sorts of stuff over here. Okay, just move my blender out of the way. And a food processor would be a good option too, again, because you can just kind of do a bigger volume. So this is my hand mixer, which I like a lot. Don't agree with that. So this is cool because you just put it in and it kind of pulverizes everything. And I'm actually just going to add a little chicken broth to thin it out. Sometimes when you cook it down, you need to add a little bit more. So that's why I say don't panic if you're not using it. You just, and this is good for making a lot of other soup dishes. I'm going to stop talking while I'm doing this. Sometimes you have to kind of, this is a very official term of smushing it. You can see how it's getting soupier.
Is it supposed to be like that? Is it supposed to be soupy?
What?
Is it supposed to be soupy?
I personally like mine a little more, oh look, I'm making a mess, pureed. So if I were to add back in what I already did, which I will, it's gonna be a little thicker. I like my butternut squash soup thick, but if you don't like it thick, you can just thin it out with a little more broth. So that's a personal preference. I know some people who think it tastes too much like baby food when it's thick. I like it thick. Okay.
I can give you my preference too. When I make the soup, I actually like it with a little bit of the chunks left over. I like that texture.
I think we're gonna have some. I'm just gonna pour this back in. Oh, my pasta. Ooh, okay. All right. I'm gonna add this back in. Okay, so if you guys were making this into a meal, what are some other, besides, you know, if you just wanted soup, but what are some other things you think might go well with this? If you were just eating the soup, what's something else you might want to think about being an athlete that you would want to incorporate into this recipe?
I would want to eat vegetables, a lot of vegetables.
Vegetables, yep, that's good. What's another type of food that might be important? I'm trying to think of how to word this. We talk a lot about, this is like a vegetable, maybe eating some protein with it. So like if you made a salad and put some grilled chicken on it, then that would kind of be a complete meal. You'd have all the components, maybe some, or if you don't like grilled chicken, something else you could put on there. All right, last go around and then we're gonna be done with this. Okay, good. So that's all done. So there in the recipe, it says to add some Parmesan cheese. I like adding it when you're serving it. So if you're not serving it right away, I wouldn't add it. Because then I feel like if it's in the fridge, it kind of gets like a weird consistency. So I would just add it before you serve it. So the soup's done. We're gonna see how my pasta's coming along. Okay, it's coming. So I chose for the recipe whole wheat pasta. You could obviously use another type of pasta, but just to make sure we're getting in all of our whole grains, I feel like pasta, if you're putting a sauce with it, you can, that's a good option. I'm just gonna clean this board up. Well, I had a pot of water going with the whole wheat pasta in it. It's cooking. And for that, you can add, we're gonna make like a sauce with it, but you're gonna add pretty much whatever you want to it. So I was using chicken sausage. So I'm gonna just show you how I cut it up, and then again, I cooked it ahead of time. But you can use whatever you want. This kind was an apple, like an apple and chicken, which I thought went good with kind of the theme that we have going. So I'm just gonna slice it at a fancy angle like they do on the cooking shows, but you can, however you want to chop it up. And
What
then,
are you making now?
so this is going to be the second recipe. So you're going to see, I'm going to take the soup and I'm going to make it into a second recipe. So you'll have 2 meals when you make this. So this I cut up, and I would just cook it in a pan with a little oil, but because we have a lot going on, I cooked some ahead of time. So I'm gonna, so see, ta-da! So you would just put a little oil in a pan and flip it, cook it on either side and flip it. You could do chicken if you didn't want to do sausage. You could do like a ground turkey. But really anything that you want to add to get a protein source in there would be good. You could have beans if you wanted it to be vegetarian. Okay, let's see how our pasta's doing. So this is our, all right, that you're not going to want it too overdone. So that looks pretty good. So now this is, I'm going to show you a couple of tricks for our recipe here. And I realized I didn't get my, okay. So the first one, I'm going to reserve some of the pasta water. And why I'm doing this, you'll see I'm going to add it back into the sauce. Because all of the starch from the pasta, there's not all of it, but a lot of it's kind of floating around in the water. And when you're making a sauce for pasta, if you're not doing like a, tomato sauce, this helps thin out whatever you're putting in it without making it too liquidy, because that starch binds to it. So I'm just going to stick a measuring cup in here and take it out and see how it's, well, and there's a piece of pasta floating in it, but do you see how it's not clear like water? That's going to help us later. So we're just taking out some pasta water, sorry. If you've got a noodle in there, don't panic. So I'm putting that down, and then this is my second trick. So I love spinach. That's another, spinach has a ton of vitamins in it. It has iron in it. Spinach is a great thing to incorporate. You could, my daughter can attest to the fact that I sneak it into a lot of recipes. She says she doesn't like it, but she will eat it. But this is one way to wilt spinach really quickly without having to use another pan. So what I've done is I took our fresh spinach and I put it in the colander. See how it's at the bottom of the colander? So right now it's regular spinach. You could use frozen, but you want to just make sure that you're draining the water out of it before you use it in the recipe. And now I'm going to take our pot of, I'm going to turn off my burner. I'm going to take my pot of pasta. Okay, and then I'm gonna dump it right over the spinach. Okay.
Sheena, I absolutely love this tip for wilting that spinach. I really do.
This is one of my favorites because it's like, again, I'm all about doing less work. So, so I'm actually just gonna switch. What do I want to do? I'm gonna get a big bowl to put the pasta in, so I'm not using the. No, I'm trying to decide what I want to do for demonstration purposes.
While you do, now let me ask a quick question. So everybody's familiar with my plate, and we're working with butternut squash tonight. So where on my plate would butternut squash fit in? What would we consider it?
Who's speaking? Who's talking?
This is Melissa.
Who is Melissa?
From USJ Nutrition.
Oh.
So for all of my Fit 5 friends, we always talk about my plate, right? So we have vegetables, fruit, whole grains, protein, and dairy. So Melissa is asking us, out of those 5 sections of the my plate, which one does it fall under? Is it a vegetable? Well, I won't start with that one. Is it dairy?
No.
You're saying no. Good.
Is it a fruit?
No.
Good.
Okay. Is it a protein?
No.
All right, what's left? We have whole grains and vegetables. So which one do we?
Vegetable.
There you go. Good. Very good.
So now, and actually, okay, so now I'm going to put it back in my pot. You could do this back on the stove if you want to keep it warm, but just because I have a little bit better work. See, look at your spinach is all wilted. It's done all the work for you.
Perfectly wilted too. That's so beautiful.
Put that in the pot. Now, you have already, so here's our butternut squash soup. So remember, if you were eating this another night, you would have already eaten it, but you want to save some of it to make this pasta. Okay, but because we're all together doing it, so I'm going to spoon some of the puree right in here. Okay, and I like, again, just use your eyes for the consistency that you want. So don't overthink it. My girlfriend, she gets really stumped on following recipes, and sometimes it'll lead her down a path. If it looks good for you to eat, then just eat it. That's okay, even if you're not following the exact measurement. It's just, you want to enjoy cooking and have a little fun with it. Okay, I'm gonna add a little more. Okay. So you might not even need to add this. So I'm gonna add a little bit of the pasta water, but actually, like, so for instance, the recipe says add pasta water. I don't know, that looks pretty good to me. I feel like I would just eat it, but I'm gonna just show you. So we're gonna add a little bit of this just to thin it out a little bit so it's more saucy. And again, just use your best judgment, do what you want to do. We're going to add, I'm just going to add a little splash of milk.
Shana, what can they use if they can't have dairy, if they can't have milk?
Oh, then just don't even put it in. I think this is fine without milk. Yeah, don't, I wouldn't even bother putting it in. And then we have our chicken sausage, so we're gonna add that. But remember, anything you want, if you're like just regular shredded chicken is good. Any option is fine. Beans, like a white bean would be good. And then we're gonna add our Parmesan cheese. And again, you don't have to add cheese if you don't like cheese. You wanna add something else. Okay. This is the moment when I think, did I do everything I was supposed to do? I think I did. You could add nuts to this. So in the recipe, it says like pecans or walnuts. That would be a good addition, but you don't have to. Some people, don't like it.
Nicole.
And now we have our cheese, which is like fancy.
Sorry.
Nicole, you have a question, I think. I think it's Natasha.
Yep. What's up, Natasha?
Talking about cheese, like if they are on a diet, like maybe they should have like lactate cheese or lactate milk sort of thing.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that's a great question for our friends at USJ.
I can answer that, Natasha. So, excuse me, I'm losing my voice today.
Okay.
So if you're not able to have dairy because, it upsets your stomach, then having the lactate version is a perfect alternative. I love that idea.
Mm-hmm.
And if they just don't like dairy at all, as Shana mentioned, you don't have to put the little bit of milk in there and you can just skip the cheese. Because the way it looks to me, even without that cheese, I'm ready to dig in and eat that, even if cheese wasn't on there.
Right.
Natasha, I agree. There's lots of different dairy-free substitutes. My oldest daughter, who's the one who's filming us tonight, she couldn't have dairy for a long time. So I used to have to get very creative on making different versions. I made lasagna one time with tofu as the ricotta cheese portion, which that was healthy. I don't, again. Okay, so we have our pasta version and we have our soup version. And I think, yeah. What does everyone think? Do you think you could do that at home, hopefully?
Of course.
What do we think, guys? I think it looks delicious.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm happy that, you know, nothing caught fire in the kitchen. That was my goal for tonight. So I feel like that was a success.
I think that looks great. Clara, can we look at that pasta dish one more time? I have a couple questions for the group. So remember how we were just talking about the My Plate, everyone? So I think it would be a good idea to look at this dish and think about what parts of the My Plate we can find. So remember we talked about protein, vegetables, fruit, dairy, and whole grains. So can anybody tell me what the protein is here?
That would be the sausage.
Sausage.
Yes, they're good.
Sausage. Then I see some whole wheat pasta. Where would that fall?
The grains. Yeah, whole grain, actually.
Good.
What else do we have? What else can everybody identify?
The cheese is dairy. The cheese is dairy.
And the spinach
stars.
that will go to the produce.
Yep,
Correct.
spinach is under vegetable. Nice job. And remember how Shayna told us if we wanted to make a sweeter soup, we could use apples, and what part that would fill up the plate? What part were we missing?
Apple is fruit.
The fruit.
Yeah. So everybody see how this is a really great meal idea because it fills up our My Plate? And I see a question from Kristen.
How about Parmesan cheese?
Yeah, where does that fall on the My Plate, do we think?
Dairy.
The
Dairy.
Dairy. Nice job.
Excellent.
Yep, that's my favorite cheese, actually.
Me too. I love the Parmesan and
Me
I love
too.
provolone.
Awesome. They are good. Does anybody have any questions for our friends from St. Joseph's? They know all there is to know about food and nutrition.
All there is to know. We know a little bit. Well, if you guys are thinking of questions, I'll give you a minute to think of them, and I'll just make a comment while you're thinking, because Shayna mentioned pairing the butternut squash with apples, and I could not agree more. One of my favorite dishes in the fall. In fact, I just made it this week. Nicole, I don't know if you saw the picture. Or did I put it up there? Yeah, I did. The same thing, you take the butternut squash and cube it, but then you slice apples, and I also slice nectarines while they're still fresh in season. And I bake those, just sprinkle a little cinnamon on it. You don't need a dessert. You have fruit and vegetable combination, and there's a sweetness to it, and it's hot. It's just nice on a fall dreary day. So apples and butternut squash, they're quite a pair.
Dr. B, I'm going to make that. That sounds good.
Don't ask for a recipe though. I cook without recipes usually. I throw it on the pan and I do what you were talking about. Whatever looks good.
Yeah, that's part of cooking.
Did I have a question from Mary?
Do you freeze it?
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Great
yes.
question.
Mary, I forgot to say that. Thank you. So I like, again, making a big batch of this, and then you could the soup freezes really well. And you could even, you could freeze this, but you could even, like, if you were going somewhere, put this in like a casserole dish, and it would easily like heat up again the next day, and you could use it again. Yeah, you'd absolutely could, and it would still taste good. So.
And cauliflower can go fall into the vegetables on the plate.
Cauliflower, yes, that would be, cauliflower is a great vegetable.
Actually, it's my favorite vegetable.
Nice.
I feel like that's always the underdog of the vegetable world. Broccoli gets all the attention. People forget about cauliflower. I love cauliflower.
So Mary, you could easily add that into your puree. That would be a great mix.
Yes.
Good idea, Mary.
Yeah.
Melissa, have you tried, like, for us Special Olympics athletes, like, have you tried purified meals? Because there are certain athletes that really cannot really actually chew, because they have to have it liquefied. Correct?
Right. So if they have to have pureed, what Shayna's made is great for them, the soup part, not the chicken or the pasta. But go ahead, Shayna. There you go.
I was going to say, when Dr. B was my teacher in school, one of the projects in our class, we had to follow
a puree diet for a couple of days. And this was one of the
Nicole.
I ate this a lot because I liked it, and it followed, you have to make sure it's the right consistency, but it followed the parameters of the doing a puree. So yes, this would work quite well for them.
Absolutely. That's a great question, Natasha. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions for our friends? It could not even be about this meal. If you had any other questions about food or maybe some good snacks to eat before you exercise or do some practices.
Mary's got one.
I was
Well,
wondering
I've
if
got
I can
one.
find my friends to check it out.
What was that,
Mary?
Well, I have some friends the same local program I am in, Team Ram. I was wondering if we can invite them someday to our Zoom.
She wants to invite friends, Nicole. Wouldn't that be great?
Of course, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, they love food. They love to cook.
Good.
That would be wonderful. Yeah, so we're hoping to have some more of these cooking classes. So you can bring all the friends you'd like from
I
Ram.
love to eat a lot. Well, my favorite food is Philly cheesesteak sandwich, but I always have pizza on Friday. But I'm trying to watch what I eat, so but I'm just nervous at first, but I just wanted to strive to be the best Shane that I can be.
Good. I think you're already taking steps to be that great Shane. You are that great Shane. And so with your pizza, Shane, and your Philly cheesesteak, if you have it only once a week, why not? It's just that you're not having it every day, right? You can focus on healthy foods the rest of the week and have pizza on Friday.
I do the same thing because I also like portion out my foods, and like for breakfast I do like a food cup with nuts, so I have my protein and some fruit with it, so my body will be filled up, so I won't be as hungry throughout the day a little bit. So trying to do portioning.
So 3 things that you're doing really, really well with. First, you're eating breakfast. You're not skipping breakfast. Great. It's a great choice for breakfast. And then it's basically keeping you full until your next meal, so you don't have to just eat all day long, right?
Yeah, and so far I kind of lost like about 17 pounds so far.
Wow.
I think.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Keep up that good work.
Yeah, plus with the working out and watching what I eat, is paying off.
And you're in the Fit 5 group?
Yes, I am.
So yeah, I recognize a lot of you from the Fit 5 group and from the events. So yeah, I know, I see your names, I see your faces.
Thank you.
I do events too.
Yes.
Like the dance party we had.
So Nicole, how long over the summer? Let's see, a total of 16 weeks, I think, and now a new cycle with a new program, right?
Yep. So Natasha and Kimberly actually worked out with me today at 2:00, and a lot of and Madeline too. Madeline was there. Yep.
Me too.
So, yep. And Alex has been doing a lot of the workouts, and Dan's been doing a lot of the workouts, and Logan. So we've got a lot of everybody is a superstar for being here, but yeah, a lot of people are doing a lot of exercise too. Kristen, did you have a question?
Thank you very much, and good night.
Oh, thank you,
Oh,
Kristen.
you're welcome. Thanks for coming, Kristen. It's nice to see you.
Nice to see you guys.
And I see Clara's shoulder. Can we get Clara on camera? So,
hi, Clara.
Clara, do you want to say hi? Clara was behind the scenes doing a lot of the work for us.
Yep, I had to outsource some stuff to my daughter, and we realized that
she's your daughter. How lovely.
Huh?
Yes, that's her oldest daughter, Natasha.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, I have 2 more who would be not as helpful on. I have
I think they should help more in the kitchen.
They would like to help. A 9-year-old and a 3-year-old the 3-year-old would be very disruptive, but Clara's a great helper and she likes to cook. She helps me in the kitchen a lot, so.
And she figured out a lot of the technological things.
Yep, exactly.
So thank you, Clara.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Claire.
All right. If there's no more questions.
I think I see one more from Alan.
Ah, let's hear it, Alan.
I think any more cooking
classes. When is
Are
the
there
next
gonna be more?
Let me ask you, Alan, do you want more?
Yes.
All right. Then yes, we will have more.
Yay.
Yay.
Good.
Does anybody have any? Well, you know what? Here's what I'll say. If anybody has any requests for some things that they would like to see us cook, tell us on the Facebook page if you're on there. If you're not on there, you can tell me in the chat right now.
I am.
Awesome. Perfect. So if you come up with ideas, post them in the Facebook group if you don't have them right now. And then
Yeah, that would be great.
Oh, I do have Facebook.
we can share them with our friends at USJ. Awesome. Well, does everybody want to thank Dr. Brown and Shayna and Clara?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you guys for having us.
Yeah, you guys are welcome, and we're so glad you all came.
Thank you.
This has been so much fun. I can't wait to do it again.
How are you?
I was thinking, do you think she could do like a really nice Thanksgiving meal sort of thing?
That would be perfect. If we could get one scheduled in November or even first week of December.
I love November.
Yeah,
We'll work on that, Natasha.
We can talk about maybe some parts of a Thanksgiving meal. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
A healthy, yummy Thanksgiving meal or dish. We'll say a dish.
And there's also like
because that's like
at
the most
end
popular
of
thing.
December, New Year's Eve dinner also.
Oh, wow. Okay. We might need to get a little fancy with that one. Right? Because don't we all want 2020 to be done?
Yeah.
All of this COVID pandemic stuff, and we'll go into this beautiful new year with a fancy meal.
I hope so.
And Christmas.
Yeah.
All right. I like your ideas, guys. Thank you. We'll jot those down, and we'll start thinking of some ideas for that to get that set up for you, Nicole.
Perfect. Sounds good. All right, guys. So we'll see you at our next cooking class, hopefully. And I have all of your names. So we will send you the recipe and we will send you a gift card. And hopefully you'll get it by next week. If you don't get it, send me an email. Okay. Does everybody have my email? If not, I will post this recording on our Facebook group so that you can find that again too. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for coming, and I hope you have a great night.
What is
Good night,
your
everyone.
email address?
I can text you on the what's called messenger app. Okay.
Sounds good, Natasha. Yep. And Alan, I think you have my email. I emailed you earlier this week. Okay.
Okay.
I'll send you the recording.
Thank
right.
you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Madeline.
Bye.
Nicole, do you have 1 minute?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And Shayna and Michelle. Did Michelle leave? Oh, she left.
Looks like it.
Okay. Let me look at the chat. Nice.
So what I will do